Hello, my name's Jordan. I'm studying a Bachelor of Communications, Public Relations. This week I'll be talking about codes of communication. So, in our first week, we looked at obviously the introduction of communications. Second week, we looked closer at the communication theory. Third week, we looked at other models of communication. Fourth week, we looked at the communication meaning and design, and this week I'm going to talk to you about codes. So, codes are in fact the system into which signs are organized. These systems are governed by rules which are consented to by all members of society, of the community, using that code. This means that the study of codes frequently emphasizes the social dimensions of communications. So pretty much all aspect of our social life which is conventional or governed by rules consented to by members of society, therefore be called coded. So there is a difference between codes of behavior, so for example, like legal codes or codes at school of manners and whatnot, like social things, and then there's signifying codes. So signifying codes are a system of signs. So in this book, though we do concentrate on the second category of code, all codes do have a number of basic features. So number one, they have a number of units, or sometimes one unit, from which a selection is made. This is a paradigmatic dimension. These units on all except the simplest on-off signal unit codes may be combined by rules or conventions. This is the syntagmatic dimension. Number two, all codes convey meaning, so their units are signs which refer by various means to something other than themselves. Number three, all codes depend upon an agreement amongst their users and upon a shared cultural background. Codes and cultures interrelate dynamically. Number four, all codes perform an identifiable social or communicative function. And then lastly, number five, all codes are transmittable by their appropriate media and or channels of communication. So I was just going to focus on talking about Bardic television. So as we all know, like the introduction of television to households across the world has molded our culture more than any other medium. Maybe now, I guess, social media is a big aspect. But John Fiske coined the term Bardic television to describe how television has forged our society since its creation. So, to explain what Bardic television is, so in medieval European culture, a poet referred to as a bard was charged with the task of commemorating his patron's ancestors or achievements through lyricism. So Fiske and Hartley's concept of Bardic television embodies the idea that the underlying duty of broadcast television is that of a bard. So the second aspect of television that gives us a truly bardic function is the constant relevance to pop culture. So in other words, the subject matter of television programs never fails to evolve with what people consider popular. I think that not only does television not fall from public interest, but it also has the power to pull some things back into the public interest, which Fiske and Hartley refers to as a clawback. This, for example, in current days, teen dramas, my fave, many teens will argue that the behaviours they see in teenage drama programs are outdated, but those behaviours do not seem odd to us when we watch them. It just looks like a normal daily life of a teenager. This is because television seems to put its content on a pedestal and make it relevant again. As a result of its resilience to cultural change, television never fails and probably never will fall. By design, television will always have programming that engross somebody this aspect of bardic television is not quite as apparent in the science fiction genre. Um, it's verbal and auditory transmission as opposed to textually and literate transmission. Unfortunately, this characteristic of television often earns its discredit. However, Fisk and Hartley contest this point, using William Shakespeare as an example. So, Shakespeare, whose method of transmission to his audience was oral, is always revered as creative genius and master of the English language. Thus, quote Fisk and Hartley, we should not mistake an oral medium for an illiterate one. The authors also make the case that an oral medium, quote, can be as demanding as the most profound works of literature. Because of this information is fleeting as it passes. Given the commonalities between bards and television and examples from, as in teen dramas today, it is very clear that television does not indeed serve quite a bardic function in today's society. Television holds an incredible amount of influence over its viewers' interests via the clawback, obviously what I was discussing before, and other techniques. Much like that of the bards, its content becomes fact regardless of its credibility. People actively respond to the glorifying effect of television, making it the single most influential cultural medium of today's society and giving it a truly bardic function. Yeah, so that sums up the part I'm going to discuss for this week's reading. So I hope I informed you about that, and thank you for listening.